To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Shawn Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Shawn, the Rev. Welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. And it's been quiet today. Lately, the more I do this show, they seem to be calming down right around showtime, even if it's been a little active uh, that day. But I know why you all tuned in today. My special guest, and I'm going to get to him ASAP here. But because of the things that he's into, it could get a little active here. I have a feeling during the show. So, what else do I want to say to you guys? God bless you all for tuning in. I don't have a show without each and every one of you, so you're all on the prayer list. God bless you. Thank you for that. Let's check the prayer urn. Barbara S. from Los Angeles. Hey, next state over. Our neighbors. Rev, my son Max is currently in the hospital from a drug overdose. Oh no. Can't rule out attempted suicide. I suspect foul play. He was involved in the occult. Please pray for him. Barbara, absolutely, I will offer up a prayer um, for your son Zach, and I'm so sorry to hear that. And it's no coincidence that I pulled your request today out of the prayer urn because of something that my co-producer Zach Clayton and I were talking about in the green room before the show started. Very meant to be, meant to be. So let me grab a special book for a prayer for some of the things that your son may have been into. Brothers and sisters, do me a big favor. Keep Max in your prayers also, and I'd appreciate you all trying to add some love and light to this prayer by touching your computer screen, closing your eyes, and bowing your heads. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I ask Jesus to bind in his most precious blood any and all evil curses, pacts, spells, seals, hexes, vexes, triggers, trances, vows, demonic blessings, or any other demonic bondages sent against Max or myself or any of our loved ones or any of our possessions. I ask him to bind them all and break them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Yes, I will keep him in my prayers. Barbara, I'm so sorry to hear that. Hang in there. Okay. I would also like to offer up a quick blessing to someone that we all know and love, co host of The Spectral Sailor. You all know her, you all love her, Rosie Page, going through a rough time right now, and I'd like everybody to please keep her in your prayers. Rosie, I'm going to light a candle for you, hun, and the candle will continue to burn with me during the show, and then I will take it and put it in the room where everybody else's candles are burning, and it will continue to burn until it goes out. And tell you what, I'll make you a promise now. When it does go out, I'll light another one for you. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Rosie, may the Holy Spirit enter and intervene in your life and your family's life and remain there for the remainder of all of your journeys and on to the next. God bless you all. Okay, Paranormal Ministry mailbag. Boom. Billy W. from Houston, Texas. Rev, why did you disband your paranormal team? Is it different having a team of friends than having a team of family members? Another interesting question to pull because of my guest tonight. And I'm going to save this question, Billy, and ask him also to answer this question. I'll make it quick. For me, it was never much of a difference. I care about everybody and love everybody. So I disbanded my team because I started to get into more and more darker, more malevolent type cases, and I worried about everybody being exposed to that sort of stuff because both my wife and I are survivors of extreme demonic attacks, and I didn't want to put everybody else through that stuff. I don't even want to continue to put my wife through that stuff, but she's stubborn. She doesn't scare easy and continues to work cases with me, but I do try and sneak out every once in a while and work them by myself, which isn't advisable either, but it is what it is. So it was never a big difference to me. But I'm going to ask my guest this question too. If there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. That's our website, and it's our ministry here in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you go there to visit, remember, my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work helping people with their paranormal issues, so I know times are tough. But if you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send in a small donation. I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts, and trust me, we'll put it to good use. In addition to being an ordained exorcist, I'm also a certified spiritual advisor. If you're having issues of a spiritual nature, not necessarily attached to the paranormal, and you'd like to speak to the Rev about that, there is a place on the website where you can make an appointment to speak with me. But don't leave the website without navigating over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page, you'll find the ghost store. A lot of cool things to buy, like this awesome throwback Ghost Be Gone coffee cup, bunch of other stuff too, if you go for that sort of stuff. But scroll down to the bottom of that page, you'll find my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, my publisher, owner of Stellium Books. But don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. If you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. So you get to help the kids and the animals. You can get the book a little less expensive at Amazon. If you buy it off of the website, it leaves from my home here. I autograph it, and it also comes to you in a beautiful house blessing kit. So that's very cool. It's a very different kind of feel good story where a lot of good versus evil, where good wins. So don't let, the rumors of it being the scariest book my publisher ever published scare you off of that. Scroll a little further down. Oh, and God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry 2, Chronicles of an American Exorcist, comes out this summer. So this is a great time to get the first book, get all caught up before you think about purchasing book 2. Scroll a little further down on that page, you'll find the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I'm a founding member. I offer, yes, I'm the instructor, I offer a 12-week online college level course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSE. And that is the course for all you true warriors for Christ that feel a calling and a longing to want to know more, learn more about how to draw your line in the sand, make a stand, circle the wagons, and put up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. That's the course for you. You can enroll there at the website. If you'd like more information about the course before making that type of commitment, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page, or you can just call me and ask me about the course if you'd like to. Please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. And remember, all my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. Alrighty, guys. The reason why you all tuned in today, I love and respect this gentleman. He's just also a really cool dude. You all know him. You all love him. But he's an elite ParaHunter, founder of Gallo Ghost Hunters, family ghost hunters, I believe, and he'll correct me on they're not the Bee Gees, if you were thinking that. Um, Gallo Family Ghost Hunters, I believe, is what his family is called. They're also very cool. They got a great uh, web series on YouTube, and they got a new book out, and so many cool things. We're going to get to it all. Critically acclaimed author, elite ParaHunter, and the list goes on, and some things you may not know, and we'll talk about that too. Brothers and sisters, without further ado, please welcome to the show the one and only Bobby J. Gallo. Bobby, are you with us?
I am with you, and not only am I with you, but I am ready for that big trick right off the bat, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm going to just tell everybody that for the few that don't know, before you became the elite worldwide, world-renowned paranormal investigator that you were a very famous comedic magician.
That's right. I was a full-time comedy magician, and I toured the United States. I did cruise ships, colleges, universities, trade shows. I did all of that for 15 years full-time. And if everybody doesn't believe me, what we're going to do is we're going to do a big trick right now, really big trick. So,
okay, do I need to give you a little prayer, a little blessing that this comes off without a hitch?
I just got to make sure your producer's ready. So when your producer's ready, we're going to black out the screen, and we're actually going to make a beautiful assistant appear.
Okay. Hopefully he's still there in the green room. Zach on 3, black screen on Bobby in 3. 1, 2, 3. Abracadabra. I don't know if that works for me. I'm not a magician.
There she is.
Oh no! Hey.
Oh my goodness. There you go, folks. No
Renee. We didn't know for sure if you'd make it today. That's a great trick. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. You look very pretty tonight.
Thank you.
Tell us before Bobby goes into this trick, his second trick.
Oh, I'm doing another one. That's right.
Can't be better than the first trick, bringing you on. Tell us something about Bobby that we don't know, even if it might embarrass him.
I don't think I could tell you anything that would embarrass him. What do I know?
I don't know, but if anybody would know, it would be you for sure.
Wow, didn't expect.
I can see the sweat beads already coming up underneath his black fedora there.
No, I honestly. All right, give me some time to think this through.
I'll give you some time to think about it, but this is a great. I'm so glad you're here, Renee. And you don't have to stay the whole show. If you get bored and you want to get up and go make dinner for the kids, that's fine. But this is a question I got from the mailbag before the show started.
Okay.
And it's so interesting to pull this question because it's right down your guys' alley. You guys, I'm sure, have done your fair share of investigating, possibly on your own, possibly just two of you, but you have the whole Gallo family involved. Everybody's seasoned veteran paranormal investigators. So what do you guys feel? Is there a difference between investigating with a team of close friends or acquaintances or colleagues than it is investigating with family members?
Well, I mean, Renee definitely has opinions on this because we get asked all the time to join other teams on investigations. And she always comes back. She'll tell me, she'll pull me aside and say, I just want to go with us. I want to go with the family team because there is a difference. And I think, there's a differing perspectives on investigation, and, we do like to take videos and everything. And I'm not going to single anybody out, but and sometimes you go out with other teams and they're showboating, they want to, be the centers of attention when we're really trying to do a serious paranormal investigation and get answers and things like that. And we've experienced that over and over again. In fact, we'll be, videotaping with another team and we have to cut half of it out because, there's, this person's a psychic and, they're getting all these things and, they kind of try to push you out of the investigation. So we've gotten so used to our style of investigating and it's worked so well for us that we kind of like to do it ourselves. And what do you think, honey?
I totally agree. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable with my children and my husband.
Very, very cool.
And I did. I'm sorry. I did
That's
think
okay.
of something that I know that no one else knows, right? Because you just said to me, well, you can leave early and go cook your kids dinner. I don't hate my children. I would never want to cook them dinner. He is the cook. He cooks every night for us. So Chef Bob.
And if he if he wasn't a good cook, then he would be to Italian people, they'd be banging on his door. And I hate to stereotype you there, Bobby, but
No, that's okay.
honestly, I don't think I know one Italian friend growing up, female or male, who, for whatever reason, had the knack to go into the kitchen and cook. I don't know what that's all about.
I don't either. It's genetic. It must be.
What else do I want to? Oh, what's funny? You mentioned the word psychic, and I have a ton of psychic friends. I have a lot of psychics that I've met over the years that I suspected. I'm going to get hate mail for this, but I suspected maybe weren't that legit.
Yeah.
And I've met
Yeah.
far more that I do know are truly gifted.
Absolutely.
And been given a gift from God to have that second sight, be able to see through the veil onto the other side, receive messages, channel, what have you. And back in the day, you go and look up just about any famous old time ghost hunter, paranormal investigator, and most of them had a good psychic on their team.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it was like we all of a sudden went through some years there where paranormal teams didn't want to work with them. And if you asked them, they didn't want to call anybody out or talk bad about anybody, but they would just say, well, we just don't do that. It's not our thing.
Right.
I think there was more, below that they weren't telling you. They're wanting to give your honest opinion on why they didn't. I believe to have a true gifted psychic on the team is a great piece of equipment.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about investigating with a psychic or without a psychic?
Well, I'm going to be really honest with you. I mean, she's a psychic, of sorts, because she's so intuitive. And when we were really out in the field more than we are now, and you could read about this in my first book, Family Spirits. I mean, it's all there. I mean, she was communicating with spirits without any of this equipment. So if that doesn't fit the definition of a psychic, I really don't know what does. But I believe I know the reason why teams have gotten away from it in recent years. And that reason is in recent years, they're trying to get more skeptical. And it's gone away from, okay, we assume that these things exist and we're going to communicate and try to get what answers we can, to let's try to debunk everything we possibly can. So they've taken this real scientific approach where we're going to throw out orbs. We're just going to throw them all out. We're going to throw out camera, video. We're going to throw out phone apps. And, that's maybe sometimes that's not such a bad thing. But they're throwing away out all of these things and basically leaving us with nothing and saying, see, we're right, the paranormal doesn't exist. That secular approach has really become pervasive in the paranormal field. I think we've got away from the intuitive approach and we've gone too far over to the other side. The ideal place is right in the middle. I mean, I have a healthy skepticism just like everybody else. I mean, you have to review the evidence. Not everything is going to be a ghost. But that being said, every day I see a ton of legitimate evidence being thrown out because, well, we just don't accept that anymore. Well, there's no experts here, and this is still a fledgling field. There's a lot there that we should be examining maybe a little bit closer, and that includes the psychics and the intuitives and the empathic people that I think are a great addition to a team.
Well said. And it's funny that you bring that up. I recently, I'm not going to call anybody out, but I recently met a team of all paranormal parapsychologists. A couple of them were legit parapsychologists. Others were just, they referred to themselves as that, but they were all hardcore debunkers and
Yep.
skeptics. And I didn't see, honestly, personally, I didn't say anything, but inside I was thinking to myself, I don't get them. I don't see the point. In my humble opinion, and what do I know? In my humble opinion, I honestly believe that this field has always been, still is, and will always be a spiritual endeavor. People,
Absolutely.
and there's experiencers, and there's people that are non-experiencers, but even in that group, and you know, I have never met an experiencer who now isn't a believer in the paranormal, or at the very least knows that there's something else going on outside of our dimension that
Correct.
can't be explained. But then in this group of non-experiencers, there still is a ton of people in there that, for some reason, they are believers because they've either had someone close to them that have experienced stuff and has told them their stories, and they believe this person experienced something, and it has triggered that passion for them to become a very good, open-minded, wise-eyed, open in
Hmm.
paranormal investigator. And don't get me wrong, the debunking's great. I've done my fair share of
Sure.
debunking on cases too. But I do know there's been people that have reached out to me that say I had these people come over, and sure, they debunked a few things, but and then they were done and they left, and they still left me here with this haunt going on in my home. What do I do? So maybe the two of you, this show is your guys tonight. You don't have to worry about answering quick. You guys could talk for the rest of the hour if you want. I'll just sit and listen. But talk to me about where your guys' passion developed. I think it's so unique to have an entire family um, doing this together. And talk to me about how the passion developed in the whole family for this field.
Well, I mean, I was investigating since 1989. I mean, that's actually the exact year I did my first investigation. So, I mean, what are we looking at? 30 years right now, that I've actually been doing this. And I did get out of it for a while. And it was about 10 years ago, actually a little bit more at this point, yeah, when this brand new show came on TV called Ghost Adventures. And my kids never knew that I was a paranormal investigator. I was just dad, And we were about 10 episodes in Ghost Adventures when we were down south, and my kids were absolutely enthralled with the show. And I'm watching it the entire time going, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I was doing, back in the day. And it was, 20 years ago at that point. And I turned to the kids and I said, hey, kids, Daddy used to do that too. And all of a sudden the world stopped, and it was like that moment in the movie Spy Kids when the kids go, my parents aren't cool enough to be spies, and all of a sudden, no fear, no hesitation. They wanted to go ghost hunting because they saw these guys doing it on TV. So I thought maybe, let's try it. I was rusty. Let me brush up on some things. And let's see if we can get one picture, one EVP, one photographic anomaly, anything. How cool would that be? Well, I got to tell you, Rev, from the very first investigation, we ended up getting more evidence than the guys on TV. And for anybody who doesn't believe that, they can see it because I was a typical dad. I would videotape everything. So I have it all on tape. And we started a web series when you could count the people doing web series on YouTube, paranormal web series, that is, on one hand. And that is no lie, and that is no exaggeration. So our first videos were getting tens of thousands of views. And it wasn't just the paranormal evidence that people were interested in. It was the dynamic of the family who ghost hunts. Yeah. And, we documented it all in our first book, Family Spirits, which is almost 300 pages. And, people could read about it, and then they can go right to the web series and actually watch the investigations. And, I'm the least talented person on my team. Renee is probably the most talented, followed by Nikki G and Courtney. They all have their own unique gifts. Courtney was able to see orbs with her own eyes. She would say, Dad, there's an orb right there. We go, we take a picture, boom, it's in the picture. Dad, there's an orb dancing on the stairs. I can't see it. We take video and there's the orb dancing on the stairs. Crazy. My daughter, Nikki, is an empath. Renee was able to communicate with spirits through the rods. Me, I put it all together. That was pretty much my job. And I was able to do the video production because of my experience as an entertainer in the entertainment industry. But honestly, that they had a passion right from the very beginning, and they always had that thirst to find out what's going on. I mean, we all want to know what's lying on the other side. I mean, I'm 58 years old. I'm more than halfway there. It comes to a point where you want to know. And yeah, I understand, what the Bible says, Jesus said, blessed art thou who believe without seeing. But I think a lot of us are St. Thomas. We have to see a little bit in order to get that validation. So, we're in good company, obviously, because he's a saint. But, that's where we are, and I think it serves a very valuable purpose in the society at large, because the Catholic Church recently lifted the moratorium on paranormal investigation because they want answers too. And one cardinal in the Vatican said it's a good thing because it gets people thinking about the afterlife. And as society becomes more and more secular, we are kind of pulling these people back and saying, hey, hold on, there's something else, and you need to be thinking about it. And that's where I think we come in as paranormal investigators.
Absolutely. Well, so well said.
Don't ask me to say it again.
There's so many things, like just as you were talking about that, just so many situations and teams and people I've met over the years have just came rushing to me, all these memories. But I think that it's okay to be skeptical. And I tell these people all the time, I would have to say at least 95% of the cases that come my way are people who didn't believe.
Right.
And now they find their world turned upside down.
Exactly.
And
they find the worldview. Right.
But having said that, what boggles my mind to this day, even I'll have somebody reach out to me and they expect me to they think I'm just sitting here without anything to do. And I can just drop everything and rush right over, even if I'm not in their state. But they'll admit to me, no, I don't go for this and I don't believe any of this, but I just want you to come over and whatever is happening here, I want you to make it stop. And it's hard to explain to them that I have no magic powers and I don't have a magic wand. Even if I could get there right now, I can't wave this magic wand and make it all stop. But then I get into this discussion with them. Well, what do you think is happening? If you're still not a believer and you want me to come over and make this stuff stop, what do you think's going on? And they can't tell you. They just know that they want it. They're scared. And they can't wrap their head around it, and it's ruining their life, and they just want it to stop. I will usually find somebody else in their area, even if it's here local, another team that I think is better suited for them, and send them there, because I know that a person has to pretty much be ready to that famous saying from Jerry Maguire, help me help you. They have to. I let people know, I'm coming from a Catholic and a Christian, spiritual Christian angle towards this, and I need you to, acknowledge and believe in what you're experiencing and be ready to maybe listen to what I have to say on your options here and move forward.
Right.
And if I feel that they're not there, then I usually, I hate to admit it, I usually have to cut them loose, because I know that I'm just going to go there and things are just going to get worse.
Right.
And they don't understand that everybody, and I'm going to just throw this out there, everybody has the power to make this stop. I come over there, I just put my arm around them, I draw the line in the sand with them, and I stand with them up against the bully, and I encourage them and I give them some advice on what their next moves should be to battle this. But they are truly the ones that have the power to take life back and
Right.
and fight whatever it
Absolutely.
is that's coming at them. So talk to my viewers about the different haunts that you go to. Uh, Uncle Tom or Aunt Betty that happen to just be floating around because they still love the family, still love the home. They want to watch over them. They're not. They're
know,
gonna eventually they're gonna go, but they're not ready yet. Versus these more, whether it be an elemental attached to the property or somebody in the family brought a malevolent entity into their camp, um, and the different approaches and how you guys look at that.
okay, I'm gonna address that. But before I do, I just want to make one point on everything you were just saying. Recently I read a book and there was this extremely good-looking guy right here in the book. Oh my gosh. I mean, he could be on the cover of GQ, folks. Look at that right there.
That guy could either be Jack Black, he could be Danny DeVito. I don't know. He could be Dog. He could be Dog the Bounty Hunter. Where'd you get that
He
book?
appears on this brand new book that's being released in 5 days, folks. 5 days. Okay. And the guy whose picture I just showed you said something very profound in this book. And it all ties into what the Rev was just saying, is that these people that don't have a spiritual foundation are the people that become the targets for these things. And that's so poignant and so true, because a lot of people say, oh, you're a ghost hunter and everything that you investigate is a demon. You'll get a lot of the evangelicals saying that. And I'd like to point out quickly that that's probably not the case, because demons don't want you to know that they exist. The second you know they exist, you have power over them. They want to work behind the scenes. They want to work influencing you, influencing governments, and things of that nature. And most of the time, what we feel we are experiencing are earthbound spirits, because demons, I think they get a little bit too much credit. Everything's a demon. Everything's a demon. I think a lot of them are just nasty earthbound spirits, to be honest with you. But a primary target for a demonic influence would be ideally somebody who has no faith, because they're just letting it right in. They have no spiritual protection. They had that wall, the armor of God, right, that the Bible says is not there, because they don't believe in it. They have no faith in it. So and that all ties in. When we're on an investigation, I can almost guarantee you that 90% of everything that we contact is an earthbound spirit, or it's a benevolent spirit that travels back and forth, because I think they can do that. I mean, look, even the Catholic Church believes that loved ones can visit us through ADCs, after death communications, and through signs, and all manner of different ways. So I think, we contact them on occasion, but I also think we contact earthbounds that have unfinished business. Some of them don't know they're dead. Could be any number of reasons, but I think demonic entities are very rare when we're ghost hunting. I'm not saying that they're not out there, but I don't think I tend to believe, in Sylvia Rossi in the same book, our new book, also agrees with that. They when it comes to demons, they are out there, they're everywhere, but they don't want you to know they're there. So they're not going to come out and say, hey, here I am, and start throwing things around the room, because that's not in their best interest. But an earthbound that has unfinished business, needs to get a message to you, maybe might be doing those things to get your attention. And I think that's what we run into in the vast number of cases. And that's what our research is borne out. Elementals don't really have a lot of opinions on those. Could be. But, shadow people, what are they? We've had experiences with them in the past. Yeah. I think they're spirits as well, to be honest with you. I think they're spirits on a lower vibration, if you will. But we did 60 episodes / investigations with the family. That's not counting the ones I did on my own. And we've had a few negative experiences, but even the ones that were negative pretty much told us that we're spirits, but we don't want you here. So they will give you that feeling of oppression, that feeling of depression, drain your equipment so that you can't record that. They'll force you to leave that way. They'll drain your equipment so that you can't do the investigation. So leave. And through our equipment, they've pretty much said, through yes or no questioning, we do a lot of interviews with these entities. And, if in some cases they want to talk, some cases they love us, some cases they don't want us there.
It's interesting. This whole conversation now has come full circle back to another point I wanted to make. One of the on faith and communicating with the spirit.
Yeah.
One of the most talented, gifted psychic mediums I ever met, and I don't have permission to throw her name out there,
Right.
was a retired nun. So she was full of faith, but she had this gift from God, second sight. And I was once told by somebody, by the person that brought me into this world, may she rest in peace, that I'm going to see a lot of, how she knew this, I don't know. Well, I was already seeing spirits at a young age, but she said, you're going to see a lot of spirits in your life, and they're nothing to be afraid of. They're just people that don't have a body any longer. And if
Correct.
you see one, if you take it as a gift, because they know that you're able to see them, and they need to get a message to you, or they need your help with something. So now when you have these people that don't know what's going on, they just want it to stop. Sure, you can go in and probably find a way to get it to move on. But now you haven't helped the spirit either.
Correct.
And so that's where I like a good, gifted psychic medium to come in and communicate with the ghost. Why not help everybody, not just the people that are feeling terrorized, but now you help the spirit too. Find out what the message is. Find out why they're still there, why they may need help to get wherever. And I've been on cases where the spirit flat out said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sorry I scared people. I don't mean to do that.
Right.
And I'm not avoiding heaven. I know it's there. I confer with my guardian angel and my spirit advisors all the time here, but there's just some things I still want to experience as a spirit in this realm.
Right.
I'm not going to move on yet. So I'll stop scaring people. But see, then when you bring people in that aren't gifted and don't know how to communicate, and then they start doing things like they bring in the crystal ball or they bring in the Ouija board, and they start doing all these different ways to try and communicate with the spirit, and they don't know what they're doing. Then they invite other things in.
Correct.
Or if it is, like you said, just a really pissed off, disembodied human spirit.
Yeah.
They can make things, they can be very poltergeistish and make things, make your life terrible.
Yeah, and they can mimic demonic activity. There's no question about it. We still don't know. I mean, a lot of the philosophical questions we'll ask on an investigation, we won't get answers to, because it seems as though there's some knowledge that we're allowed to get and some that they're not allowed to tell us. And that's not just me saying it. In our new book, Family Spirits 2, Archbishop Christina Rake, and if anybody's familiar with Bishop James Long, he's on all the ghost shows. This is his boss, who I interviewed in this book. She's the head of that branch of the Catholic Church. And she agreed with me during the interview that there are some things that we are not allowed to know yet. We're allowed to know bits and pieces. We're allowed to know that it exists, and we're allowed to get rudimentary knowledge. But when you start asking questions like, is this hell? Because, in the Bible, hell is a separation from God. It's a place of weeping and gnashing of teeth. So maybe it's not fire and brimstone. Maybe it's just you're not invited to the party. You're locked out. So if you're locked out, where are you going to go? Well, maybe you have to stay here. So you can only imagine the earthbounds that are running around if that's the case, and what they've done during life. So, it's plausible to realize that they can mimic demonic activity because of their behavior during life, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that is what we're dealing with. I mean, we don't know conclusively, but I'm starting to see the evidence lean in that direction. But that's not to say that there are not benevolent spirits. I mean, our greatest piece of evidence was a full body apparition of a ghost, a Revolutionary War hero who haunts his grave for reasons we don't understand. But his family gave me permission, his descendants, to investigate it. He turned out to be the nicest spirit ever. He posed for a picture, and on the next day, he took me and Renee. He guided us to an old fort where he used to help the Catawba Indians fight off the British. And if you don't believe it, because everything I'm saying sounds crazy, I can understand. But if you go to ghosthunter.ws and you watch The Hidden Grave of Thomas Sprott, followed by the episode Ghost Guide, you will see it in real time. So I am not kidding.
Well, I want to make sure everybody knows that. I was going to get to this at the bottom. You'd have a wonderful website, www.ghosthunter.ws.
Correct.
Wonderful website. You also have a really nice, it doesn't show up on your personal Facebook profile, but you have a very nice Facebook page too. I know I get there by just typing in at Family Spirits Book. But it's a Gallo family Ghost Hunters Facebook page, which is wonderful. YouTube channel, great. And you do have a ton of stuff on there. Wow.
Yeah, if they go to ghosthunter.ws, that's a link tree. And what a link tree is it's basically our entire paranormal world is through ghosthunter.ws. So they can see our web series, which right now is not only on YouTube, but it's also on Vimeo. The Vimeo link is there. The links to both of our books are there, and all of our social media. It's all there.
Very, very cool. You had the first book was a phenomenal success.
Yes, it was.
And so now you're following that up with another book that I have no doubt is going to be another phenomenal success. And I happened to just notice today, I just did the last few minutes of stalking you a little bit before the show. And I noticed you just posted a bunch of events you're going to be to this year.
Yes.
Sure everybody knows some people love, and live for these events.
Oh,
I don't travel well. I wish I did. And I'm hoping that will change by the end of this year. But make sure everybody knows about all the events you're going to be to and what they can expect. If they come to an event that you're at and they approach the Bee Gees, that you're not going to break out into Staying Alive.
I might.
Talk about the events you're going to be. I think at least three that I know that.
Yeah, there's actually more, but those are the three big ones. So I'll just talk about them. We're going to be at Paracon, CONN, because it's in Connecticut, so it's Para CONN for Connecticut. Paracon, and that is in July, and that is in Ansonia, Connecticut. And I could bring it. I could put all the dates up, but they could see it by coming to our our ghosthunter.ws. But let me just look up here real quick. Okay, here I got it. Okay, so that one is going to be July 16th and 17th.
And if you come to that one, there's a good chance that you will get to meet our youngest, Courtney, because she may be with us.
Yes, Courtney will be at that one, and we will be signing books, both books. And also, if you come to the booth, you could enter in a drawing for a GoPro camera, which we're going to be giving away at each of these events.
Wow.
So so it's pretty cool. And let me see. We also have one in October. We're going to be doing. There's a Paracon in Sleepy Hollow, October 22nd. Wow. Don't know the name of it, but I just got asked to do it, so I said yes. And then in October, we're going to be at the Mohegan Sun Casino and Resort in Uncasville, Connecticut, doing the Warren Seekers of the Supernatural Paracon. And I skipped one. It was the one in August. Oh, yes, yeah. The August 19th through the 21st, we're going to be at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash in
Wow.
Gettysburg, PA, and that's a good one
They're fun.
because that's 3 days long,
Yeah.
and it's like a giant paranormal party. And at night we go and we investigate, and they're going to even have a cigar truck, which I'm very excited for.
Wow, man, those are some great events. The Warrens event,
Yep.
Sleepy Hollow, anything with Sleepy Hollow. It's
Yes,
just an odd. You don't. They don't even have to tell you what it is. You just go ahead and you just say yes,
that's what I
and
did.
let's go. Um, that's going to be very cool. And Gettysburg. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
how many people have I spoken to over the years that live near there that just say, it's almost gotten to the point where there's like no veil there, and they
No.
just walk around the town like they're all still alive and just so active. And you hate to think of soldiers still fighting after the war. And I don't think
You
some of
know,
them do, but some of them get stuck in that.
they do.
Yeah.
And we our last investigation there was just Renee and I. We have evidence that that's the case, because one soldier told us right through our SB7 spirit box, it's been so long for me, he said.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right. And then one soldier said Hildreth. And I looked at Renee and I said, Hildreth, does that mean anything? She goes, no, it couldn't have said that. I said, no, I think it said Hildreth. And I did research, and Private Hildreth, North Carolina Artillery. He gave me his name. He wanted me to know he was there. I mean, it's just crazy. And we captured a full body apparition in broad daylight on that same investigation. I said, can you pose for a picture? And along the tree line, there he was. Yeah. I mean, it really is crazy. And I believe that. But when you think of how many people died there, I think it was 50,000 who died in a couple days. And they didn't die pretty. No. I mean, whether they died in battle or died on the operating table, it was brutal. And a lot of them still are fighting that battle, I am convinced, because I think they are stuck in a loop, or they don't know they're dead and they're still on duty. It's an amazing place. And sometimes you go there and you're all excited, but when you get there, you do feel the heaviness of the area, and things start to sink in a little bit, and you start to take it a little bit more seriously. So even though the Battlefield Bash is this like big paranormal party where everybody's going to get together and have fun, there are some somber notes to it, and I don't want to dismiss that. And I don't want people thinking that we're having fun at the expense of all of these people that died, because, they have our highest respect. They really do. And nothing would make me happier than to not get any activity there at all anymore, knowing that they all passed on to a better place, because they deserve it. All of them, on both sides.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about a proper, respectful Christian burial, which so many of them didn't get. And not only did they die traumatic death, some agonizingly long, some quick, but a lot of people, I've read article after article after article, how many mass graves that people don't even know about that are out there in some of these really areas where the war really raged on in the South, and some of these open fields where they've built stores or condos on, or neighborhoods over, that you just don't know about.
Correct.
And that's just literally the ground has been stained with their blood and their memory, and that's all, they're just stuck. Before I ask you if you want to make a trip, I'm sorry.
I don't know if I'm going to see if we could see this. This is in Family Spirits too, but if you see right there, you can see the apparition. You can see the soldier.
Oh, very cool.
You can see him.
Yeah, that is cool.
And we outlined it on the next page so that people could see it a little bit clearer.
Very, very cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
You mentioned the GoPro you're giving away. I'm going to open up another can of worms here. Before I ask you I forgot to ask you to do I was so impressed with making Renee appear, I forgot you were going to do another trick. So maybe the trick will come here in a few minutes before we end the show.
Okay.
With your trick. But you mentioned the GoPro.
Yes.
I'm going to just throw this out there now.
It's a generic GoPro, by the way. I just want to make that clear.
Let's talk about and I'm going to get hate mail for this. I always do. But I've talked to so many
Forward it to
guys
me.
that make equipment, and many of them have looked both ways, leaned in, and said, "Shh, none of it works." Um, I believe in a good camera. I believe in a good tape recorder because I believe you can capture a ghost. You find them more on stills than you do in actual footage.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you can capture their voices. Why they can't just, why these EVPs are so confusing, why they just can't, like, I can't get a ghost to sit down here and do the interview with me, is a little annoying. You and I are going to be having this conversation in heaven one day, and we're going to be laughing about all the things we know then that we don't know now. But
Right.
I have a lot of these people that spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Listen, if you can afford it, and you go out and some of the stuff you buy, whether it works or not, is fun to use and you like them, great. I support it. But a lot of people who don't know any better have been kind of hoodwinked a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
they spend all this hard-earned money that on these equipment that's not going to prove the existence of ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Can't prove that they don't exist, but can't prove that they do exist.
Right.
Talk to me about some of the equipment out there that
Sure.
just it is just
Absolutely.
basically
Believe it or not, it's one of the subjects I talk about in my new book, Family Spirits 2, which the subtitle is Purpose and the Paranormal, because and it was Renee who came up with the central theme of the book, because we're looking for the underlying reasons why we should be doing this and what some people are actually doing out in the field. And we talk about paranormal equipment. And in particular, like between Family Spirits and this new book, the biggest fad right now is the SLS camera that makes a stick figure. People see this on all the ghost hunting shows now. Makes a stick figure. Well, I mean, that was actually developed for a video game, and it was adopted for ghost hunting use. And while there may be something to it for ghost hunting use, the bottom line is it will try to make a stick figure out of anything that has even a remotely human shape, like an obelisk or a gravestone in a cemetery, or a chair. There are times when it does seem to work, and maybe pick up something like, and I show some examples in the book. But overall, people are spending hundreds of dollars on this, and every time a stick figure pops up, they think it's a ghost, and it's not, because it will look for anything. Like this blue camera, this would be perfect. It would definitely make this into a ghost. If it would, because you can see the legs, and and that's what it looks for. So you got to be careful what you're buying. The best way to be careful is to go with a reputable manufacturer. And one person that comes to my mind immediately is Gary Golka. Yep. And you've seen him on some of the shows where his daughter, Melissa, died tragically in a car accident. And he's an electronics genius. His company makes electronic measuring equipment for industry. But the same company now also manufactures ghost hunting equipment, but it's the real deal because he developed it to communicate with his kid. So this guy is not fooling around.
I have his Mel meter. One of his old model of Mel meters, which I primarily use in an attempt to debunk a lot of stuff. Right. But I do like to have one handy there, and it's behaved interestingly, to say the least, on some cases, which have thrown up red flags to me that I might be dealing with something a little off the. Yeah. So what can't you not do without when you guys go ghost hunting?
Well, I know what I'm going to say, but do you have anything?
No, I just wanted to add that we were out there, we would do various types in order to have one validate the other. We never stuck with just one thing every single time. We always tried to introduce different things to validate all the information that we were getting. And if we got it on everything, every piece of equipment, then we knew we definitely had something they're communicating.
Right. Like we'll put an EMF detector next to a thermal device. which is also right next to an ITC device or an interactive device like our Spirit Touch device. And if all of these things are reading the same data, then you have something, because it's not just one piece. We call these evidence strings, and the more strings you have, the closer you come to scientific proof. So yeah, to her point, we do try to introduce different pieces of equipment to validate the same anomaly or same phenomena, if you will. But for me, the one thing that I cannot do without on an investigation is my Sony Handycam camera. And the reason, that's a night vision camera. Yeah. And first of all, I'm going to tell everybody watching this right now, if you go ghost hunting or you do an investigation, if you don't document it, if you don't have audio or video, all you have is a good ghost story. That's all you have. You have to have documentation. So if I just had one thing, it would be my video camera. And that being said, more than once, we have caught anomaly on that video camera and EVP through the microphone on the video camera. In fact, one of my greatest EVPs ever was at the old burying yard in Salem, Massachusetts, when my daughters were laughing and a third spectral voice came in on a different frequency altogether and started laughing with them. And you can see that on an episode called Laughter at Old Burying Point at ghosthunter.ws, and it sounds nothing like us. I mean, it sounds so different and on a different frequency that you could tell that it's spirit. And so yeah, I got that through the camera. So the camera can catch EVP and has night vision infrared.
Well, listen, in just the 3 or 4 minutes we have left, do you have enough time for the trick, or do you want to wait till the next time you come back?
We're doing it. I hope this works. I haven't done this for years. And I'll tell you right, now with the state of the economy, this is perfect, because a lot of people, they have money right now, and if, every time you go, it seems like you only have a couple quarters, you see, and I hate it when that happens. I really do. And you can see it's even that way on the other side too. It's just one of those things. But if you take it, as everything with magic, it's just an illusion. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Listen, guys, I love you. I love you both. I respect you both. Tell your daughters I love them and respect them too. You guys, the whole family's been on my prayer list for a long, long time.
Thank you.
Did you guys have fun when you come back?
Yes, absolutely. And everybody, the Rev appears in the new book, Family Spirits too. I know he doesn't want to mention it.
You want him to buy the book. You want him to buy the book.
No. You know what? I didn't mention this. Renee loved your interview.
Totally.
Oh, she loved your interview, Rev. Yep. That's why she wanted to come on the show, just to talk to you, because she's a fan now. She's a fan of the Rev. And he's in here, folks.
All 5 days. Guys. I love you both. I want you guys to have a wonderful remainder of your Monday evening. Thank you both so much for being here, spending an hour with me and my Paranormal Ministry family. Have a great evening. Give the girls a hug for me, and I'll be in touch.
Thanks, Rev.
Take care.
Good night, guys. Oh, I love them. Gallo Family Ghost Hunters. They're everywhere. Check them out. And they'll be back. I'm going to let them get all their events out of the way this year. I'll have them back in the fall. I'm already booking for October. I'll have them in the fall around Halloween time. They'll probably have some, especially from Sleepy Hollow, some killer ghost stories. Okay, guys, what do I want to tell you? I'll be here this Friday, June 24th. You guys are you already know and love him, but if you don't, you're going to love this guy. He is the Bigfoot guy that all the other Bigfoot guys go to talk about the big guy. Carl Supp, Elite Squatcher, will be here this Friday, the 24th of June, 2022. Different time. My Friday show's at 2 p.m. Pacific. So, who do I want to thank tonight? My co-producers, Adrian Hart, Zach Clayton. This is a Zach Clayton and Adrian Hart production. Thank you to Things Network. Thank you to Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. Thank you to Skeleton Key Network. Thank you to Pact, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel for podcasting and simulcasting my show. God bless you all. You're all on the prayer list. Thank you all for being here. Have a blessed evening. Have a blessed week. I'll see you all on Friday. You're all on the prayer list. Good night, Jack. Good night, Danny. Good night, dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all. Peace.